on. All right. Hey, Dad. Can you guys see me? Uh, this is Jim crazy. I don't know what's going on with my internet today. I really had no idea. But let me know if you guys can see me uh, and hear me. I hope so. All right. Let's see who we have here. Are you guys hearing me? Jamie, are you hearing me? Give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay. All right. We see in here. All right. Good, 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 good. Okay. So let's see who's here. Apparently I'm starting because Lee got behind and didn't get a put the snacks out. But that's okay. I will let him deal with that. He'll be here. He's on the way actually. So I'm sorry, guys. We gotta do the interview without snacks. So let's see. Hi, Cindy and Jenny and Tiff and Mia. Hi, Dad. Thank you, Dad, for being here. Kathy, how are you? And Jamie, hi. I'll talk to you today, I think. Let's see. Linda, Glitter Angel. Hi, Eve. Thank you, Dad, for coming. I really, really appreciate this. I had been really looking forward to this interview. Hi, Lily. What's going on? I'll give people time to trickle in, and I mean, it takes a little bit for people to get here. But we have someone very special. I think she is. I talked to her just a little bit, and things have been happening, and we've not been able to talk early, and I wanted to, but that's okay. We talked about 20 minutes before the line, and she's a beautiful soul. I can tell that already. Eve, you were not kidding when you said she was somebody special. Kathy, she said the same thing. Um, she wants to tell her story, and then if you have questions, she'll answer them after. So you can ask your questions, and I will start them, or Lee will, or Rich, or Lourdes, whoever. And then after the interview, I will go back and let her answer anything that she wants to answer. Um, Other than that, I can't think of anything else really that I need to say. That I just wanted to let you know that she's not going to ignore your questions. She's just going to wait and answer them um, after the questions. And that's okay, Lee. Don't stress. I know you're here. Um, if you're that stage and if you heard me and you see your question, just start it for me. At least I know how to do the humors a little bit. You told me how, I think. We'll see. So I am going to bring Jenny on. Is she ready? And I'll kind of let her say hi to Denani and introduce herself. And we will certainly. Berta is not here yet. She'll talk on. Well, I'll see her. And Rick said he'll be just a few minutes late. Sometimes being an adult makes you do things at work. And I don't believe in that. But hey. Hi, Christopher. How are you? Christopher's a little troublemaker. But I love him. He knows that. I hope he knows that. Okay, so I'm gonna bring her on, let her introduce herself and kind of chit chat a little bit, and give people a couple more minutes to get here, and then she can start and she's ready. So, everybody, I'm gonna bring Jenny on. Jenny, are you ready? Okay, here she is, guys.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. How are you
I'm good today so far.
today so far?
Yeah, today
One
so
day
far.
at a time, right? One day at a time.
Absolutely. That's how we
Yep,
do it.
yep, I know that. That's how I had family in recovery, and that's the same thing they say. One day at a time. And you know what? I'm not in recovery, that's how I live my life too. Just
Yeah,
one day at
it's
a
a good
time.
motto for everybody. You don't have to be in recovery for it.
No, and that's all you can do. What are you gonna do? You can't change things that you can. Well, you can, but it's not easy sometimes.
It's true.
So, um, Jamie is in recovery, and she's
Mhm.
been in recovery for what, 8 years?
It'll be 8 in October, so we're still
Eight
seven
and
and a half.
I learned about Jamie through Eve and
Mm,
Patty, and Eve told me that she had a friend I needed to meet and that she wanted to be on Night Live. She said,
mm.
ask her. I said, well, I don't know her. It's not that weird. I said, maybe you should approach it. And she said, no. She don't care to talk to you. I said, I talked to her. I don't know how well this is going to go over. So I did. And it did, and it took you a little bit, and I didn't push because I don't push. And then finally she said, "Okay, let's do this," and I'm like, "Really? Okay." Then. So, um, again, take your time,
Mhm.
no rush, and I always tell this to my dad to sort of lie that I always forget one thing, then I think of three, and turn the mic off. Okay, did you see me? Did I lose
No,
you?
you lost me a second.
Lee, tell me if you can talk on stage without to can like I said, if that happens,
Mm-hmm.
tell a joke. Tell a story.
Tell a
Turn
joke.
the camera off if you want to. If you don't want to be alone, I'll do that. Lee, will you help me if I
You
have
mean
to?
like this?
Yes, thank you. Hey, no,
Of
no,
course I can hop on stage.
thank you. Thank you. Hey, no,
Now I'm
this
going
is,
to back off stage.
thank you. Thank you, Lee. Hey, now, the theory is if I get lost and my dad is going to be alone, and that freaks me out. It really does. It scares me. I don't like that. That's rude to me. Even though I can't help it, it's rude. But if you need to turn the camera off or
Mhm.
the mic or you want to hop off stage, you can. Just say
Okay.
to me, I need off stage for a minute. I'll put you off stage and then you can give me a thumbs up, for that, whatever.
Okay.
Just,
It's good to know. I have an escape route.
yeah, you did. No, or you can run out the door. I see a door behind you. That
There's a couple back there. I'll just run, Tammy.
okay, that's fine. She'll be lots of the world. Just keep running. Hi, Allison and Kat. Kat, I hope you're feeling better. Okay, so whenever you're ready, you
All right.
can start.
All right. I do want to say hi. I did see everybody saying hello, and I saw some congratulations over there, and thank you all. So my name's Jamie. I was born and raised in Wildwood, New Jersey. Um, I can't speak much to my childhood because I don't have very many memories, which could be an entire episode of this all in and of itself because I know that means a whole lot of stuff. But so, um, growing up, for the most part, was, normal family, mom and dad. I was adopted. I found out at 15 that I was adopted, and it hit me kind of hard. It was tough to come to terms with the fact that, nobody in my life was who they said they were. And at 15, you're becoming a woman, and that's hard enough. So when I was up until 15, my parents were always the cool party parents. So like whenever they were having a party, they would let me and my friends have like wine coolers. So I was always drank. And then when I turned 15 and I found out that I was adopted, I kind of had a friend who was like, hey, there's a party this weekend. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure. Let's go. So, 15-year-old confused and lost little old me goes to this party. And between me and my girlfriend, we like downed an entire half gallon of vodka. And I discovered in that moment that I was able to drink to make everything go away. Like I didn't feel or think about not belonging or not being part of or not being, the family I thought I was in. And it was a terrible thing for me to discover, because that's kind of how the rest of my life went. I discovered that I could drink when things were good. I could drink when things were bad. I could drink because it was sunny or because it was rainy. Like it became a real bad habit. I got through high school. I graduated 11th in my class. I was always smart. I always did all the stuff. I got a letter in track, and I did all the stuff, the extracurriculars, and then came to applying for colleges, and all my friends were going away to college, and I had gotten, I got accepted to Fairleigh Dickinson, but then it came time they wanted money, and my parents were like, well, we can't help you. So I ended up going to community college for like a year, and didn't stick with it. I ended up just, living at the shore. Was very easy to go get a job up on the boardwalk, and that's kind of what we all did. Working on the boardwalk was like party life in itself, like from the time the store opened until the time the store closed, like usually 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. all we did was drink, and it was a nightmare. It was fun while it lasted, So after, 15, I found out I was adopted. I graduated at 17, and that summer I discovered what drugs were. I had a friend who had a friend who I started dating and then moved in with, and got introduced to this whole other world of substances, right? And it was like an off to the races thing. Like every summer there was people in and out, because it was a shore town. So, people came down, we partied, people left, we drank. It was kind of the way life was, at the age of 21. I kind of thought that was where my life was going to be for the rest of my life. I was very popular amongst the bars, I learned how to use and abuse anything and everything around me, people, places, things. I learned very quickly how to use myself to be able to get what I wanted from people. I was able to barter to get, anything that I wanted, pretty much. I was miserable. I was a broken shell of a human. Like it was terrible, but I thought that this was life. I thought this was living, because it was all I knew. Growing up, we always were taught that, the dream life was going to be, you get married, you have the kids, you have the dog, you have the house, you have the cars. So I thought that those things were what I wanted to achieve. And when I was 23, I ended up getting pregnant with a guy that I crushed on in high school. And I got pregnant. He didn't want the kid. We were going to go and terminate. And then that morning he's like, well, if you're knocked up, why don't we just get married? And I looked at him and I laughed at him and I walked out. And I moved out and I kept my son and I didn't keep his father. And that was probably one of my better decisions. But so 23, back in 2004, I had my son, and I thought that was going to fix me. You know, I thought that having a kid was going to be what I was missing in life, that finally somebody was going to actually love me, because I made him, so he had to love me, right? It didn't matter at that point that I didn't love me. I didn't like me. I didn't think anybody else in this world was ever going to like or love me. Everybody just hung out to get the things that I could provide, or, you know, get me to provide for them. And it was a terrible, terrible life. So I brought my son into this world May 13th of 2004. And we went through a lot, me and him together. You know, I was a single mom for the first 5 years of his life. And then in 2010, I met my ex-husband, my now ex-husband. But I met him, and it was like the most toxic, terrible Romeo and Juliet story you could think of. You know, he was a friend of my sister's, and then he started to hang around, and then we started dating, and then within like 6 months, he asked me if I'd marry him, and I'm like, this is it. This is going to be my life. This is going to be perfect. He had a house, but I didn't know that it wasn't his house. It was his dad's house. But he had a home, and me and my son were moving in, and we had 2 cars in the driveway, and we adopted a dog, and we were getting married. And like, in my mind, I was like, I've arrived. Like, I'm here. Like, I had a career. I was doing, I was at Bed Bath & Beyond at that time for a few years doing LP. And like, I had arrived. You know, I was getting all those things that my whole life I was told was what I was supposed to have. And I thought it was going to fix me. Maybe I'd finally be happy. I wouldn't be so miserable. I wouldn't hate everything that's inside of myself. I wouldn't loathe myself with a passion. So we get married. It's volatile. We were 2 raging alcoholics who came together and made life worse for each other. It was constantly like, he was a volunteer firefighter. So like, he always used that, and he would get girls and he would cheat on me, and I would find out, and I'd be down at the firehouse, like fighting with these girls all drunk because they're trying to sleep with my husband. And it was a mess. There was restraining orders on me. There was like a lot of physical violence. It was just not, it was bad. It was bad. After 3 years of marriage, my son was 11 at the time. I think he was 11. There was an incident. My son got in trouble. He was punished, and he was in his room, and my ex left for work, and I went in the room. My son's crying, and I sat next to him, and I was like, dude, what's the matter? He's like, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm afraid that you're not going to come home again. And like, he's bawling his eyes out. So I looked at him, and I was like, all right, then we're done. And the next day, I packed me and him up before my ex came home from work, and we left. And that was it. I was done. I was divorced in 2015, 10 years now. And we left him, and I was staying with a couple friends here and there until I got an apartment, and we got an apartment down in Marble Crest. And he mostly stayed with his dad at that period of time, because I was, after I left my husband, I kind of jumped off the deep end. At that point in my life, I had been on pain management. I had been hit by a car when I was 18, and it like royally messed up my back. and to the point where they said there's nothing they could do for me but keep me comfortable for the rest of my life. So the doctors had me on pain management. So I'm taking narcotics. And after I left my husband, I found myself at a bar one night. I had just gotten my pills filled, and I don't remember most of the night. I remember glimpses of sniffing pills off the backs of toilets. I know I got blacklisted from 2 bars that night, and these were bars that I went to like my whole life. But yeah, like, so I left my husband and things kind of went off the deep end. And my son started staying with his dad more, or my parents, because my parents were living elsewhere. And when he was with me, I was busy drinking or using or chasing after guys, or like, I was not the best mom I could be at that point in my life. And that was 2016. I ended up moving back in with my parents because I could no longer hold down an apartment because I was doing way too much partying. So in 2016, I moved in with my parents, and I ended up going to my first rehab because I tried to stop using heroin and then realized I couldn't stop using heroin. And so I go to my first rehab and I tell them, you know, I don't have a problem. Like, I'm not a drug addict. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I just can't not use the heroin. Can you help? It makes me laugh now, but I ended up staying there for like 5 days, and then I got out, and then it was just like back right off to the races again. I was definitely absent from everybody's life at that point. I was doing everything I could to not die, but not trying to stay alive. And yeah, so then my son's back and forth between being around me and being with his dad, and I'm back and forth between being at my parents and staying in a trailer park and holding down a job the entire time. So how can I have a problem? I'm working full time, and nobody's calling me on anything, you know, because whether I was hiding it that well or everybody was just being ignorant, who knows? But so yeah, 2016, 2017 were kind of rough. And then on June 4th of 2017, I am out. I'm at my dealer's house waiting for them to come home, and I get a phone call from my dad. And my dad's screaming on the phone at 9 o'clock in the morning, telling me that my son's dead. He had died of an apparent fentanyl heroin overdose at the age of 13 at my parents' house. And yesterday was 8 years. So it's been kind of rough. He would have been 21 this year. And yeah, so things got a little worse before they got better at that point. I definitely went down the self-harm road very hard. I was not good at it. Thank God I was not good at self-harming myself, you know. So he passed in June, and then October of 2017, I ended up checking myself into, in September, I went to, 3 detoxes and 2 hospital stays because I just couldn't do it anymore. And then I kept getting out, going back, getting out, going back. It was rough. So October 3rd of 2017, I ended up checking myself into a rehab, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the intake nurse, and I told her, you know, I said, if I don't do something now, I said, by Christmas, I will be dead, and my parents going to bury me and my son in the same year. I said, and I don't want that. So I did what I didn't want to do at that point. You know, for the first time in my 36 years, I started doing things that I didn't want to do. It wasn't about what I wanted anymore, because all I wanted was to not make my parents go through that. So I'm in that rehab, and I'm talking to my intake nurse, and I told her, and she's like, well, you could do a long term. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And she's like, okay, so then you can go home. I was like, no, I don't want to do that either. What about long-term? So she's like, well, there's this faith-based Christian all-female rehab in Flemington, New Jersey. And I said, none of those words are anything that I liked. Like, not one of those words. I had no God in my life. I had no faith. I hated girls because girls only wanted what I had or who I had. Like, I didn't like girls, didn't get along with them. You're telling me I have to go there for a long time. And where the hell is Flemington? I had no idea. Nothing. So I did it. I went. And I ended up staying there for 7 months. This rehab was across the street from a softball field and next door to a buffalo farm. I had no idea a buffalo farm existed in New Jersey, but it does for anybody who would like to know that. It's in Flemington. So I ended up going to that program for 7 months, and it was probably the thing that saved my life. Aside from my higher power, who I choose to call God, he was definitely orchestrating all of that long before I got there. So I'm in this rehab. I meet all these girls who, I don't know, I think I'm still friends with like 4 or 5 of them still today, which is incredible. I met an incredible resident advisor there who just the year prior to me arriving in the rehab lost her son also to an overdose. So like she and I hit it off, and like we still talk all the time. We get together and spend a lot of time together, and she's helped me through a lot because she knows she's also in recovery. So like she has been like a solid rock in my recovery since the beginning. I got out of that rehab in May of 2018. And my best idea at that point was I was going home to my parents' house in Rio Grande because I can do all the things that they said that I shouldn't do, because they said that I shouldn't go back to the people, places, and things that I've used with and at. But I was, fine. I'm invincible. So I went back down to my parents' house. And within, I would say, probably 4 hours, I decided to take a walk and found myself down the street from my dealer's house. And I'm standing there. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it was so automatic to just go. And I had 8 months clean at this point, and it was still like right there. And I'm standing there and my phone rings, and it's this guy, John, that I've known since I was like 16. He was like a dad to me, and he calls and he's like, hey, I heard you got out. I just got this new place up in Barnegat. Do you want to come see it? I said, where's Barnegat? He goes, it's north on the Parkway. I was like, well, clearly. He's like, you want to come see it? I was like, yeah. He's like, cool, I'm around the corner. So I'm like, that means I have to get home. So I got home, he picked me up, and we're driving up the Parkway. And I looked over at him and I said, if I go back, I'm going to die. I said, I can't go back there. He's like, all right, we'll figure it out. Let's see what we can do. So he brings me up here, and he ended up helping me find an Oxford house and funding, and we got all this stuff squared away. And it was one of the first times when I discovered that my God has a sense of humor, because the Oxford house that I ended up getting accepted into was a mommy and me program, which meant there were mothers there with their children. And here I am, just about a year after losing my son, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Again, I got comfortable doing things I didn't want to do. And that's really been the way I've kept myself clean all these years. I stayed at that house for a little while, and that was the start of my journey up here in Ocean County, New Jersey, which has been a whole nother big, beautiful excursion. I moved up here. I moved an hour and a half away from home, and I didn't know a soul up here. I only had my friend in Barnegat, and I was in Toms River. So I move up here. I start going to 12-step fellowship, and my life just exploded from there. Within a week of moving into the house, I ended up getting a job because I needed a job to pay my rent. I got a job with an inventory company, and June 1st, I've been there 7 years now. I'm a supervisor, a manager. My bosses have been like beyond incredible. The women that I work for have been to every one of my celebrations in recoveries. So every year they come and see me and celebrate me being clean. These women trust me to possess one of our company vehicles that I get to use for personal use. They pay the insurance and the Easy Pass and the gas and maintenance and everything. And I just get to drive around in this car when I'm not working, which is wild to me. Somebody trusts me like that. I barely trust me like that today. So, I've been at the same job for 7 years now. And I started going to my fellowship, and I built an entire life out of this fellowship. Everybody in my life currently is in recovery. And it's amazing. It's amazing what recovery has actually done. I have managed to put my life together in ways that I never thought possible. I used to think the house, the car, the fence, the dog, the kid, that was what life was. And I've come to find out that it's not. It's about being free from all of the trappings of addiction, of all addictions. I still fall prey to things like food and coffee, chocolate. Those things still creep in and out. But the things that are going to kill me a lot quicker, I don't live dependent on things anymore. And that's been the big, beautiful, theme of my life since my son passed, is trying to figure out how to actually live. I survived before. After losing my son, I've had to, every day for 8 years now, I wake up and I have to decide that I want to keep going, that I want to live, because it's very easy to want to die. It's very easy to want to go the other way, Even yesterday it was a little difficult to get my butt up and moving, because someday the feelings and the memories hit harder than others, especially when the anniversaries pop up. But fortunately, I've built myself a life that I want to stay here for. I've built myself people that love me and friends that check on me through the day, especially when they know that I've got something going on. It's wild to me to have that level of care and compassion in my life. I don't know what to do with it some days, but I'm super grateful to have stuck around. I've got that whole life beyond my wildest dreams is something that our fellowship talks about. And I always say that, my wildest dreams for a very long time was making it to the bar that night, and now I have hopes and dreams and plans for a future. Even when I don't want to, even in those dark, painful, hurting moments where I feel like everything's crashing down, I'm able to fall back on my faith that I have also acquired in the process, a very strong faith. And I'm able to fall back on that and find the light in those situations. And it's incredible to me to be that kind of person, because I never was. I was very selfish, self-centered. I was not the person that sits here now, that's for sure. And it's funny because I always say, everybody in my life now, aside from some family, nobody knew me back then. And I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I don't think they'd still talk to me. And it's It's a wonderful thing to be able to be at a point where I can share my story and it not break me. It took me a long time and a lot of healing to get here. A lot. But I'm grateful to be able to share my truth, and share my experiences and hope that it would be the light for somebody else to maybe keep them out of the darkness for a little while, even just a little while. I think that's about it. I think I've spewed enough.
Well, I think you're an incredible human being. In the short time that we talked, I meant what I said. You're a beautiful soul. And you're strong. And I don't feel like it, that you are. And I think you're very brave. When I asked to do the interviews, I am really amazed that people trust me enough to come on and tell their story. And it's an honor for me to have you.
Thanks, Tammy.
I mean that. I think that people who are strong enough to tell their story like this, they give me hope. They do. And then make me want to go on, because I haven't lived anything like you have, but some days you're tough. And like
Right.
you, I will talk to them one day at a time. That's the only way you can live through days like this.
Very
And
true.
I know Tiffany was in the alley, Donaldson Cat. She said she's sending all the love and hugs your way. And Linda said, thanks for sharing.
Thanks. I
And
did see somebody say something asking if I spoke to Eve, which is hilarious. I love Eve to death. She literally lived like 3 minutes down the road from me.
and that's how I learned about you. And Edie said, I love you so much and so incredibly proud of you. It's an honor and privilege to be your close friend. And that's how I feel. We're not close friends, but I would like to think that we're friends. And it's an honor to have you, to call you my friend. Happy that she loves you.
I love you too, Kathy.
Now, I'm going to ask a question.
Okie doke.
Well, first of all, Nicole said, thanks for sharing. It takes a lot of depth to tell your story and own it like you do.
Thank you.
And Tiffany said she's glad that you had Eve in your life. And Mia said she's sorry that you lost your son.
Thank you.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. And Cindy said you're an incredibly strong person and seem like an amazing woman. And before I continue, I do want to let you know that if you wait about 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
and go back on the live, the chest to do it from the laptop. I don't know why. And you can actually read the chat.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And then Kathy said, tell us about your Don painting. I'm going to get to that. That's what I'm going to do. But before we do that, I want to ask you, your son,
Mm-hmm.
did you know that he struggled with?
I did not. Whether it was because he was only experimenting, whether it was because he wasn't around me a lot, because I wasn't around a lot. There was no indications to me that he was using. A couple months before he passed, I found out through the school that his arm was cut up, so he had apparently been cutting. And then after he passed away, some of the teachers at the school had enlightened me about how bad he had been being bullied at school, which nobody had told me previously. So he was probably struggling with a lot of stuff. I know, like, it was ruled accidental after like 4 years. They ruled it accidental and closed the case. And the only thing that I know for sure about anything surrounding it is that I do know that a couple of the kids on the block that he was friends with, I know that their parents dealt drugs. So where it came from, how often, there are no answers.
But you don't know how long he had been drugged.
Right. Correct.
I did that. Okay. Yeah. You know, sadly, those are questions that you may not.
Yeah. I've come to accept that I'm not going to get answers to a lot of this before I meet my maker, you know. That's the only time I'll find out.
So when you found that out, were you alone at the time? Like, were you?
I was kind of alone. I was, like I said, I was at my dealer's house, and I was there. It was a very weird situation. I was there with her mom, waiting for her to come back. So I was pretty much alone. I was on the phone with my dad when he called, freaking out.
Okay. So, all right. You found out at 15 you were adopted.
Yep.
What was life like before then with your parents? That was your adopted parents?
I don't have a whole lot of memories of my childhood. Whether that's because my mind like trauma locked stuff away, I don't know. But I don't have a whole lot of memories from what I've been told. Because like I have adopted brothers and sisters. So like from what I know from them, like everything was normal, you know, like it was just like normal stuff. I was a happy kid. I always did well in school. I was well adjusted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then you're saying you don't know a lot of the childhood stuff. I was just wondering, do you remember them being good to you, or?
I mean, I don't believe I was not taken care of. You know what I mean? Like from anything that any photos I've seen and like things that I kind of remember, it was all kind of good. Best I can tell.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah.
Were you ever homeless?
Technically I was homeless, but I didn't like live in the streets.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. I was always somebody who was able to barter my way into places to stay.
Okay. Is there a time in your life where you didn't feel safe, like you feared for your safety?
I know that there were times in my life where I should have not felt safe. I put myself in many precarious situations that I should not have. Right. That's kind of what the lifestyle does. And and this may stem back to the whole not remembering my childhood thing, but like I, from a very young age, always disassociated from things. So like I could be involved in something and it's more to me like I'm watching a movie than I feel it, you know? So like, should I have felt afraid when I'm in a car and there's a guy pulls a gun on another guy over drugs? Yeah, I probably should have felt afraid, but I didn't. I was more concerned with how I was going to get what he had, you know?
Right. Right. So when you were in therapy, when you were in that home, a religious home that you thought was not going to be for you, and it ended up was. Can you tell us kind of about how your time was like there? Did you enjoy it? Did you either not want to be there?
You know, in the beginning, I was very much trying to do everything I could to get discharged because I didn't want I still didn't want to be clean. I just didn't want to cause pain to my parents. So everything that I was still doing was still with the thought of like, I just want to go home and run. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I can't pinpoint when the switch happened, but somewhere in that 7 months that I was there, like I allowed myself to sit there long enough. And the way the home was run was like we were taught, we had like religion classes and we were taught about Christianity and the Bible. And we had like prayer sessions and we did devotions and stuff like that. And like at first that was all like super scary to me because I had no concept of any of that. And I thought it was all like hokey. But I don't know, at some point, like something just clicked in me where I started to get curious about it. And I started to want to learn more about the Christianity that they were talking about. And the more I learned, the more I felt comfortable where I was at. You know, the more I felt like I was right where I needed to be and that I was going to be okay.
Is there someone there that you related to most as far as the Templar type?
Oh yeah, there was this woman Alyssa there who she the year before I got there, almost a year to the day before I got there, she had lost her son, who was, I want to say he was like in his 20s. She lost him to an overdose also. So like when they got the rosters, as you know, the new clients were coming in, like she knew why I was there and she knew my story from my intake forms. So the first night I sat with her for meds, we started talking and she started telling me a little bit about her story. And at first I was like real resistant. I was like, oh, that's nice. And then I went back to my room. But the more I got to know her and the more I saw just how interwoven our stories were, like it's wild and incredible to me that she still, like today, she runs in the same circles and she knows a lot of the people that I know, and she lives like an hour away, I think. And like we get together. She just texted me the other day that she bought concert tickets for August, and she bought me a ticket, so we're going to a concert. So like I talk to her a lot.
Oh, that's good. So, friends, did you have friends there, or did you just kind of
At the rehab, I did come to get close with like 3 or 4 of the girls.
Right.
A couple, like there's maybe like 5 of us that stay in touch, but like 3 of them I became really like friendly with. And I still talk to them maybe once a week or so.
And were there any days where you just thought, this is not for me, I gotta go. I gotta leave. I gotta.
In the beginning, absolutely. I would say for probably the first month, I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
But I, again, like I really didn't know where in the state of New Jersey I was. Being from Cape May County in New Jersey. So if you're looking at New Jersey and you see that very little bottom peg sticking out, that's where I was from. So between me and Atlantic City was like 45 minutes. And my entire life, we really didn't travel anything above Atlantic City or over towards Philly. Like we all stayed like in South Jersey. So like being in North Jersey at that point in my life was weird. I had no idea, legitimately no idea where I was in the state. So if I was to run out, I would have been lost. I would have had nowhere to go and I would have ended up back there.
Right. Okay. So, like right now, do you think that I'm not going to say okay, but is there any days where you feel like you made your own choice? or
No,
no?
I definitely have reached a point in my life and in my recovery where I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, that I made the exact right decision for me. I couldn't imagine going back out there. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine living that lifestyle again. Like, I have so much now that I wouldn't want to give away. I wouldn't want to lose any of the things in my life right now, any of the people. I've worked too hard for what I have, and I'm proud of what I've done at this point. You know, I don't want to give it away.
So, are you still and you know you didn't answer this, and if you had I apologize, but are you still in contact with your adopted parents or your parent? How do you third it in? Your parents or your adopted?
Okay, so
What to say?
my parents who raised me are my parents.
Okay.
Everything surrounding that, well, that's a whole nother story. So when I found out I was adopted, it was because my biological aunt came to the house to let my parents know that there had been a settlement that I was due to take part in. Because when I was 3 weeks old, my biological mom was killed on the back of a motorcycle by an underage drunk driver, and she wasn't wearing a helmet.
Okay.
So there was, the family had sued the girl that killed her, and there had been a settlement that had been put into a trust for me. And I have a sister. I have a biological sister who's 18 months older than me. So she was nearing 18. So they were talking about trying to get this settlement paid out. And my biological aunt came to tell my parents that I was due this money. My biological mom and my dad who raised me are cousins by marriage. Like I said, it's a giant story. But my parents that raised me, my mom passed away a few years ago, and my dad, I still talk to him all the time. I'm going to be living with him soon. He's coming to move up here, so yeah.
Okay. So do you still have contact with your siblings?
I met her once when I was 15, and I didn't like anything about her. So no, I never spoke to her again.
Okay.
I still talk to one of my adopted sisters. I don't talk to the rest of them.
Okay. So you're pretty much, would you consider yourself, other than your friends and your support system, on your own, or do you have? How often do you see your parents?
Well, like I said, my dad's going to be moving up here in July, so
Right.
I see my dad all the time. I don't consider myself alone because of the family that I've built around me. Like, I have built friends out of the rooms that have become closer to me than any of my family. Namely, Eve and Kathy, who are like my best aunts ever, I would have to say.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Someone asked how you met Eve, and Eve wanted me to let you know that it's okay to say.
So I met Eve and Kathy in Narcotics Anonymous. Eve was my first sponsor when I came up here.
Mm-hmm.
And so she knows all the stuff that I just spewed, I think. And so does Kathy, because Kathy was my sponsor by proxy. And they are probably the two biggest pillars in my life since I moved up here. I feel like they're like one of the constants that have been around. They've seen my bosses come to my celebrations and everything.
I feel like they are two of the biggest pillars in my life too. You know, when they're in your life, and they are one of the biggest supporters that
Yeah.
I had a lot of support, but you know, and each person that I had in my life had their own unique qualities that I love. And Eve is like, you can do this. Don't stop.
Biggest cheerleader you'll ever have.
They are the biggest cheerleaders ever.
Yep.
They are. And not just to us, to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
They are. And like Kathy, she said, I'm not a diamond hanger that you accepted me into the community. Well, yeah, you accept us, you just, you are. That's right. So you are a diamond hanger. Now, that reminds me, not reminds me that I was letting you finish. And I do have some comments here. So before I read those, I was going to ask you, can you give me, tell me about your day, a typical day. What keeps Jamie going?
Well, between coffee and Celsius and chocolate, that's kind of what keeps me going. So as far as like managing my life, I've learned how to do things for myself that I've learned that I enjoy things, since I got clean. When I was in rehab, I learned how to crochet, and that kind of kept me going for a while. Like I kept myself clean and out of trouble because I was crocheting things for everybody, I've actually when I first came up here, I was sitting in a meeting and there was this older lady in the meeting and she's knitting away. And I'm sitting there and I have my crochet and I'm across the room and I'm like working on this little blanket, listening to the meeting. And I hear this woman sharing and she starts cussing up a storm and giving somebody hell about something. And I looked and I was sitting there with my aunt at the time and I was like, oh my God. I said, that woman needs to be my sponsor. And she said, well, then go ask her. And here it was Eve. And she from the moment I seen her in the rooms, like I knew we were going to hit it off. And she, like we were saying, she's been the biggest support in my life since. I'm always asking her to teach me how to knit some because I've never been very good at the knitting part. But instead of teaching me how to knit, she taught me how to have a diamond painting addiction. I think it's been maybe a year now, maybe a year and a half since she gave me my first kit. And I go through spells of not crocheting, and then somebody asks me for something, so I have to stop diamond painting and start crocheting again. I have my desk is sitting in my living room with my diamond art on it that I'm halfway through. It's a crystal canvas butterfly. It's really pretty. I've got stuff that like sits that I started I started buying Diamond Art Club stuff because Eve turned me on to that. So I got all these like Chuck Pinsons that I started to fall in love with. And I don't have probably an eighth of what Eve has at home, but I have enough kits that'll keep me busy for a little bit. I have one kit that's like on my, eventually I'm going to buy this and maybe one day ever do it, is I want to get, I forget who has it. I know Eve will tell me who it is. It's The Last Supper, and it's like 8 million feet by like 8 million feet.
Great.
I want that one, but it's like a $200 kit, $250 kit.
Yeah.
So that's like my big wish list is that kit.
That, and she has remarkable quality. So she has one I want. It's an old master. It's almond blossoms.
Okay.
And it's the same thing. So one day you and I will get those old masters.
Yes.
I may have to sell my house, but one day we'll get them.
Same. I'm gonna have to sell everything I own, but I'll have it from James Gem Shop. Yes, thank you.
But I tell you, it will take me my whole life to do, probably. But that's okay too.
That's that.
before I actually Dr. Don painting, I had some comments here. Kathy wanted to ask Dr. Don painting. I didn't do that. I swear. And Eve said Janie is one of the strongest, most remarkable women I know. And then Kat was just sparkled us in diamond. She said it takes an incredible amount of courage to share your truth. I'm so sorry you lost your son. You obviously have an incredible inner strength and purpose, sending you additional hope and strength for your continued journey. And Eve said the runes equal the 12-step fellowship.
Yes, I
I
said.
don't know what that means. I'm guessing you did though.
Yeah, I said the rooms. I was referring to the 12 steps.
Right.
12 steps of fellowship.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. I want to make sure. Now, you're crocheted. How long did you say you've been doing that? Or did you say?
I learned, when I was 11, I had an older woman neighbor who taught me how to crochet to make something for my niece or for my sister when she was pregnant. And then that was the only time I ever did it until 2017 when I was in rehab. And there was a woman there that was teaching the girls how to crochet. And I picked it up and then she taught me how to read patterns. And that was it. Like I was crocheting anything and everything I could find pattern for.
What's the most difficult thing, your largest thing you did?
Oh my gosh. I did a queen size mandala blanket for a friend of mine.
Wow.
It took me probably 6 months to complete, and every row was different and in a different color. It was incredible. I was so mad because her dog bit a hole in the blanket.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that was a giant one. And then I made 2 Monsters Inc. blankets most recently. So it's like Mikey and Sully from Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made 2 of them recently.
Did you find that hard to do?
No, it wasn't hard. It took a lot of time because like my problem is like I have periods of time where I have a lot of downtime, where I'm not working a lot or where I don't have a lot going on socially. But then there's other periods of time where like anytime we hit the end of a quarter, like the last 3 weeks, I work straight without a day off. So like I don't have a lot of time to just sit and crochet and relax. It's like work, sleep, eat, work, sleep, eat.
Well, okay. So you didn't find knitting easy. You found that hard?
I found knitting to be difficult.
I don't think it is. I mean, I do. They look different, but I don't know. It's not the same, obviously.
No, it's not. It's way different. With crochet, you use a single hook, and you make the stitches. But with knitting, you use 2 needles, and there's a lot more to the tension of the yarn. And for whatever reason, it just escapes me. But Eve is amazing with it, and instead of teaching me how to, like I said, crochet, she gave me diamond painting. And I still wanted to teach me how to knit, though.
We each have our own thing. And obviously knitted, not yours. So, all right. Eve introduced you to diamond painting.
Yes.
How did that come about? What did Eve do? Because I know Eve, if I know her, and I do, she was good up there. She thought, here, do this. And I'm like,
no, it wasn't quite that rough. What had happened was for, I don't know, probably 6 months to a year, every time I came to her house, all she was doing was diamond painting. And she would stop, and if we were going to, do something, do a specific assignment or something, she would stop and, concentrate on what we were doing. But in any time we were just sitting talking, she's like, I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to diamond paint. I've got to finish this section. Or I've got to finish this for this event or for that. Or there's a live on. You want to watch it with us? I'm just like, what is happening here? And then like, she kept saying, I really think you'd like this. I really think you'd like this. And then one day she just like handed me this Temu kit that she had, and it was these cactuses at night that I still have hanging on my wall. And she's like, "Here, just try it." And then as I tried it and I liked it, she's like, "Okay, so now you need this, and now you need this, and now you're going to get a pen, and now you should look at those pens, and maybe you should order those pens, and maybe you should have those pens turned, and maybe." So now, like, I have all these things. I have the accoutrements, and once in July when I move, I'm going to get an actual craft room, and I can actually put all my stuff out instead of just like sticking it away in a cubby hole. So that'll be nice.
So, did you find that helpful? Because to me, I found it therapeutic.
I did. And a lot of it, it's like it's like with crochet where like I managed to just accumulate all the things I needed to crochet, but I never actually used them. Like I had twice now, I found myself with an entire closet full of totes of yarn that I was never using because I found yarn, I liked it, and I would buy it because I might use it one day. So that's what I found myself starting to do with diamond art stuff. Like I would see like a really nice blank and I'm like, "Oh, let me buy that pen $100." And then in 6 months I'd see it and be like, "Oh, I forgot I ordered that." And then I started ordering, I have so many pieces of release paper because they were cool and cute that I just ordered, and I'm like, I use like 6 at a time, but I could probably put release paper on every painting that I have right now and still have some left over because I liked it. So it's like part of the fun is just like the accumulating of the things that you think are cute and cool.
There's an addiction to diamond painting, and there's an addiction to the accessory.
Yes. Yeah. Somehow you get both of them.
Yeah. Daughter wants to know, have you ever tried to go to a retreat?
I've heard about them. I know Eve has talked about them a lot. I don't know that I would be able to have the time to go because as of right now, I don't get like paid vacation at work. So I am way too driven by keeping my money and my house to take the time off unpaid to go to a retreat. But if there was something like local and like a weekend thing, I would totally check it out.
Okay, so let's talk about your diamond painting. Once you discovered that you liked it, and yes, 30, you can. 30 wants to drop in and ask you something. So she could. So I'll let her do that, and then I'm going to ask you just your diamond painting. Okay.
Just so you know, guess what? I'm eating pizza.
Of course. Berta and I like the same pizza.
Okay.
It's not often that we like the same thing, but we are addicted to Chick-fil-A pizza.
Yes. So, Jamie?
Yes.
You don't have a channel, right?
No.
Okay. So, I just want to say that you really inspired me by your story, and because I know what it's like to go through all that stuff. And sorry, I'm shaking. I'm gonna meet Eve at the retreat, and you inspired me so much that I decided that I'm going to give up one of my favorite canvases too. And I'm going to have her bring it to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's already kitted up. Would you like to know what it is?
Kind of. I'm curious now.
I'll show you. See what you think.
No way. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
It's square. So just I'll bring it to the retreat, and Eve can bring it home at the end of the month.
Oh my God, Berta.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
It's big, and I didn't get the crop version, just so you know.
I didn't want the crop version. You're
Yeah,
incredible.
me either. It's not the biggest size, but it's big.
Oh my gosh, Berta, you're incredible. I don't
So-
even know what to say besides thank you.
You're welcome. That's all. I just want you to enjoy it, and I want to see it once it's done.
Listen, it might be in a year or two, but I'll show you.
I'll wait. I'll wait. Okay. See ya.
You're
Bye.
incredible. I had to know that. Yeah. That started.
Oh my God.
She did the same thing to me.
Oh
on
my God.
9/11. Yeah. She is incredible. Now, she got me on that one. I did not see that coming. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. Yeah. And so, thank you, artist. I'm going to say thank you too. I don't know why I'm saying thank you.
That's incredible. You're incredible, Berta. Thank you.
She is. So, it, look on it. I gotta tell you a comment while I see them. Eve said, tell us about your cat. As soon as you had that,
Yes.
Nia said she can teach you to knit. And, wait a minute. Okay, there. All right. So,
Okay.
you answer those and I have a question?
So like 5 years, I think it's 5 years ago. I was for the first time, I was in a house that allowed pets. So I went to the shelter and I'm looking at cats because I love cats because I don't live a dog lifestyle. I'm not home nearly enough to care for a dog. So I always love cats. And I went to the shelter and I saw this little tiny baby kitten. She was barely 8 weeks old. She had a runny nose. She was like the most ragged little ragamuffin cat that I've ever seen in my life. And she's like binging around the cage, like jumping all over the place, trying to get out the bars. And I was like, I want that cat. And the lady looks at me and she's like, that one? I was like, yeah. So I ended up adopting her and named her Harley Quinn. And she went from being this little tiny tiny girl to she was nearby. I'd snatch her. She's an 18-pound big giant ball of fluff. She's very beautiful and demure, and she knows it. So she will walk into a room and she will let you look at her, and then she will promptly turn around and leave. She's got more attitude than most of the people I know. She's so funny. And then when I moved 4 years ago, I moved into an apartment out of that house and I brought Harley with me. And when we were living in the house, I had a roommate who had two cats and a dog. So like there was always somebody in the house when I wasn't there. When I moved out into my apartment in Beechwood, she was all by herself for the first time. So like I would leave and go to work and I'd be gone like 8 to 12 hours some days. And when I came home, she would like sit here in my face and just meow at me. So I then found this little beautiful little girl at a shelter. She is blind, has one eye and can't see out of it. And this is Miss Bella. She is 4. She's a little girl.
She's pretty.
Yeah, she's a good little girl, but
Beautiful.
she's definitely she's special. She's special. She's blind. She still, after 3 years, just runs into everything. Everybody keeps wanting me to get her a helmet.
Well, that you did the means a lot to run because I had to see her run and then smack that into the wall.
Yeah.
She does
The
that.
two of them will go running through the house, and all of a sudden you hear whack, thump, thump, and it's because she ran into something.
Oh,
But they're very lovey. They're very good girls. They keep me company.
I'm not a cat person, but my mom had this cat, and everyone knows all about my cat. It was not baby. I mean, I had a dog too,
Okay.
and that's not baby, but they got confused on who the owner was. And that thought I was her owner, his owner, and Riley thought my mom was his owner. And so they followed the wrong person around, and
Oh.
and they fall in love with him. And cats are they have attitude.
Absolutely.
They do. So I can see why, and I would have bad days, and he would lay on me, and then he'd love on me, and then all at once he'd smack me.
Oh yeah.
Get out of it.
Yeah. Like I've had enough. Get away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
personality.
sometimes I felt like he was saying, okay, enough. You've whined enough today.
Yeah.
But yeah, your cat is beautiful. I'd love to see Harley. I would.
If you want to give me a minute, I'll go snatch her. She's got to be in the other room. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. Started that was didn't see that coming. That was incredible. I'm not surprised at all that I didn't see that coming. That's incredible. That's what this community is about right there. Is being there for each other. Let's see. Oh wow. Hello. Wow, you are a gal.
So this is Miss Harley Quinn. Nothing little about her.
Oh my god.
She's all full of sass.
She's beautiful.
She lives with a resting bitch face.
Oh, look at her. She's beautiful. She is beautiful. Yes.
She's my big girl.
There's a Tiffany in the alley down in town. She is that crazy cat lady, no lie. She taught 7 in her home.
Oh my gosh.
Loved the cat. Now, if she had your cat right there, she'd probably steal it. So you better get away.
The funny thing about Harley is that she loves her belly rubs and her brush.
Oh.
So pretty. She's such a good girl.
So sweet.
She's definitely a Miss Crisp.
What she done paint? Did she ever?
No, my cats don't really mess with my stuff too much.
They don't.
No, thank goodness. Most that'll happen is Bella will try to jump up onto something.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know where she's jumping.
So let's see. Didn't done painting the other year, right?
Yeah.
Or about a year?
About a year, maybe a year and a half.
So was still the cat. Okay. I don't steal cat. I will steal your tin. Not really, but I would like to. And you're done painting. Okay, Dorothy, don't you need to look? Okay, whatever. No. So, Dorothy need a teacher look. She used to be a teacher. So she did need a teacher look. Like, I know you're full of crap. So, who is your favorite artist? Do you have a favorite?
I'm definitely a big fan of Chuck Pinson.
Chuck Pinson.
Yeah.
So you like landscape?
I do. When I was younger, Thomas Kincaid used to be real big down in Cape May. And I used to love the landscapes with the lights. And actually one of the first that I did was I found a Thomas Kincaid diamond painting to hang on my wall. And I got a blings for that one. And then Eve was telling me about Chuck Pinson, and I started looking into it, and it reminded me so much of the Thomas Kincaids. And I found a lot of them that I've liked. So like I bought a couple on D-Stash. I have a couple that were new.
Had you ever done a Dominic Davidson or an Abraham Hunter?
No.
They're linked at 32. That's the
Yeah.
top two that I can think of right off. Do you like rounds or flares?
It's funny because the first couple that I had were rounds, and then Eve was like, you got to try square. And I was like, it looks too difficult. And I tried it, and I got I actually got the Emerald City was my first square that I got. And I was doing it for a Christmas present. And at first I was like, this is so hard. I don't like this. But then after I finished that, I did a round kit, and I was like, oh, I don't like these rounds. I only like square now.
Yeah. That's pretty nuts. I did more rounds. No, I didn't. I did a mixture. And in fact, out of my stash, most of them were flared because when I started diamond painting and I discovered Diamond Art Club,
Mm-hmm.
they at the time were not doing rounds. They
Oh.
were in their rounds. So the only thing you should do was flared. So most of them were flared.
Right.
And I find them a lot easier to multiply. The other one,
Right.
you've heard, I have a hard time doing a lot of big, large flares now.
Right.
Small ones, but small meaning 50 to 50, 60 to 50 at most, and I like them younger, not younger. I read a comment and I said younger, smaller. I like
Right.
them smaller. Shut up, Thurda. I don't know why I said younger, but I can see why you like flares because they do give a better look,
Yeah.
and
I feel like they look shinier.
they do, and they straighten themselves out. My
Right.
mom hates the flare. She said these are hard. I said, if you keep at it, I think you'd like them better.
Right.
So, do you like to do portrait style painting?
Yes, I do, because the one that I'm doing now is the butterflies. Are you talking like the layout or like pictures?
Yeah,
Like people?
like
Layout. Yeah, the one that I'm doing now is portrait, and I find that's a little easier than the landscape ones because like the landscape ones, I feel like I have to do them sideways because of the way they fit on my table.
Yeah. See, I can't. All right, guys, come on. I said the wrong word. Now they're calling me a cougar. Now I'll try to. I cannot flip. I know Chad is younger, so Charles over. I know Chad, he's still in my closet otherwise. I cannot flip my canvas. I cannot turn it upside down and sideways. I think I never tried, but I know me.
It
I don't
can
think
get
that
confusing.
you did that.
It can get confusing depending on the symbols that you have on the page.
Okay. Katie down in Demachi had the solution to that, and I want to know if you do this. She said, did you turn your canvas upside down or to the left, to the right, to turn your container that way?
Turn the containers. Yeah,
Do you do that?
I do.
Help? Did it help?
It does. It does because you're looking for the symbol the way it is instead of trying to flip it in your head. It is easier.
Okay, the reason I'm asking, I have a team that I need to do, and it's a player. And the team that's just kind of, I don't want to bend it. It's that kind of team list.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to flip it, and I'm scared to this. I'm gonna mess it up. The only thing that I think gonna help me is it all numbers, numerical, and it capital letters, and that may
Okay.
take
Not
me.
too bad.
Don't know. It's me, so I don't know. I don't know if that's any help or not. So, other than landscape, do you have a genre that you just love, like fantasy or anything?
Not really. The only thing that I'm really finding drawn to do has been landscapes. Like I did the Emerald City specifically as a gift, and I bought the butterfly because it was cheap and I wanted to try one of the all crystal ones. I don't like it, but I'm going to finish it and do something with it. I don't know what. But the only other thing that I have to work on that isn't a landscape is Threads of the Universe, which
Okay.
is the woman with the yarn
Mm-hmm.
that I got from Eve because of our yarn addictions.
Right.
We used to share a yarn addiction.
That is so pretty.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm going to get the enhancement kit for it once I actually start working on it.
so I heard you say the word blend. Do you like to blend out your team? Do you dye ES and Santino like
From
that?
Tmall, the ones that I have bought from Tmall.
Yeah.
And some of them, like I got the enhancement kit for the Emerald City because it was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And I enhanced my Thomas Kincaid because I felt like it needed sparkle in it because it's a Thomas Kincaid.
Right.
And I don't know. I feel like it's fun to just do a little extra sometimes.
Yeah. So do you ever do it on your own, or do you do?
The Thomas Kincaid I did because there wasn't a kit for that one.
So what's your favorite enhancement?
I really like the glitter. I really like the glitter drills. And what else did I do on that? I think I did. I want to try some of those glow in the dark ones. Those are kind of cool. I haven't tried them yet.
So do you mean glitter as in glitter drills, or do you mean the dust drills like through the?
No, the glitter drills. There was a bunch of glitter, like with the Emerald City. They had a lot of glitter in that one. They were really pretty.
Okay. So you were saying something that didn't leave. I'm sorry. Yes, I did. I thought that. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's me. You just sent to the dark drills. What were you saying?
The glow in the dark ones.
Oh, those.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any yet, but I do want to. I want to eventually figure. Maybe on Threads of the Universe, I feel like they would be good.
Those would be cool.
Yeah.
I need a little thought about that for that. Do you like ADs?
Yes, I do. I just find them a pain in the butt sometimes.
I find them and crystal to be very difficult.
I got this whole crystal canvas butterfly that I've been working on for a couple months now, and it's really not fun. I don't like it. I will finish it, but I don't like it, and I think that's why it's still just sitting on my desk.
Yeah. I got an all crystal canvas that had ADs and theory dust or soul dust. It was some art and soul. And as enhancement, the majority was AD crystals. They do not turn over to me. So I did not enjoy doing those.
Yeah.
I love the team though once it's done. And so I had another one at the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it. I did that to Blurter. I said, no, thank you. I'm not even going to try. So that's not my thing. So I want to know what you thought about it. So
yeah.
And I don't mind them to enhance, when you just use a few. And I do like crystals for eyes,
Right.
but I love sparklers. Those
Yeah.
are my favorite. And the glow glass. I love glow glass drills.
I haven't seen those.
And now I found out there's glow in the dark pixie dust. I didn't know that. There's glow in the dark IDs.
Huh.
I did a haunted house and I wanted the moon to glow. And Florida said, I want to use IDs at the same time. That way, when it's not nighttime, it's still glowing. And she said, well, get ID glow in the dark. And I'm like, getting all the business. But yeah, do you like to use like the fly tubes and the starburst and the crowns, or are you strictly the common enhancement?
I strictly have done the common ones. Like I haven't really ventured into the enhancement world.
Yeah. So you're still learning.
I'm still learning, yeah.
Now, do you like to do it on either canvas or just certain one? There's sometimes I don't want to think about enhancements. I just do it as charted.
Yeah, sometimes it depends. Like with the landscapes, I feel like there's always spots that would use a little extra, like if something's got lights or if something's got like a reflection on the water. I feel like those kinds of things are always good with enhancements.
Yeah. So you like the Last Supper? Is that the only old masters, or do you like the old masters?
No, that's the only one, and that just pulls at my religious heartstring. That's all.
I'm not really an old master either. I love Almond Blossom. I do like the Last Supper. I like very few old masters. I'm strictly, well, not strictly, that I love fantasy, like witches and anything like that. Oh my God, you got me. I'll do anything that has a witch in it. Well,
Right.
almost anything. I don't like the dark stuff.
Right.
I don't like that. So what before we go, let me ask you about shop. What is your shop? What shop have you purchased on?
For
Diamond painting.
For diamond paintings, I think I mostly have diamond art clubs. I try to, when I see D stashes, if I see another company, I'll like maybe get one. That's why I ended up with this crystal canvas one that I don't like, just to try them. But if I'm going to spend the money, I spend it on diamond art clubs.
Okay.
Thank you, Eve.
There was in the inner city that was tonight in Slithers.
Oh yeah, the slivers.
I like those. I like the ones that Tina had, that you did the little one, the little teeny
Yeah.
drop. I hate them. Just buy those. In fact, I don't use those when they're called for.
Right.
I don't do them. So is there any shop now that you have the Last Suppers and Jade? Is there any shop that you would like to try? Like you've been wanting to really try?
Not really, because I don't really I don't spend a lot of time looking at all these other shops. Like I hear people talk about them and like I'll see people do like reviews on TikTok, but like I really just go where I like the art and like I like the Chuck Pinson, so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay. What about pins and stuff? What's your favorite accessory? I gotta know that.
You know what? I absolutely love my release papers.
Besides that, I knew that. Is that other than that?
Besides that, I'm kind of really fond of my Firefly trays.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those are hard not to love.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love my Firefly
Police
trays.
chasers, where did you die, Dalton? Where did you think it shot? Or not that, had you tried other more than one shot?
For trays, I had tried one that I didn't like, and I actually ended up giving it to Eve. I forget who it was. Somebody's dog, yellow dog. I didn't like it. It just didn't, I don't know, sit right with, it didn't sit well for me. I didn't like how the drills sat in the tray, but my Fireflies I've liked.
Right.
And that's really the only other one I've tried besides like the ones that come in the kits or.
What about release takers?
I have like so many Crafts with Crashly release papers.
I could wallpaper in my house with hers.
Yeah. Well, I actually worked with her sometime last year, and she did recovery based themed release papers that she had out for a little while. Yes,
that was your doing.
Yeah, that was me.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
I love those.
I think she did a great job with them.
Crashly did.
Yeah.
Try to listen to what you want, and she and Carlin will do their very best.
Yeah, they're really good. They're pretty good.
They don't get into messing with the whole copyright thing. That if there's a way to get around it, they will.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can really do something strange to get around it. They do. But Jenny, I thank you so much for coming on.
I'm so glad you had me on, Tammy. I really enjoyed this. This was fantastic.
But thank you. Before we go, are there any parting words you'd like to say?
Oh my gosh. Famous last words. I mean, honestly, if anybody gets anything from, the mess of my life, is that, it's possible to get through just about everything. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't touch on that I've been through. Like, I've been through a lot of the bad stuff, that I didn't go into. But like, I never asked to be this person to survive any of these things, but I have come to understand that my higher power has put me in this position to be able to reach people that maybe somebody else couldn't reach, and if seeing me sit here 8 years after losing a kid gives even just one person hope to be able to get through some pretty bad days, then it's worth it.
I couldn't agree more. Are you, by any chance, a sponsor yourself?
I am.
Did you find that? Do you enjoy doing that?
I do. I feel like it's a very, very it's a very special relationship to be able to have with another woman, to know that they see your struggle and they see what you've been through and they want to learn how you got through it. And it's pretty touching to have somebody reach out and ask you to do it. Like, it's almost like being somebody who doesn't believe I'm worth anything. I didn't think I was worthy of being a sponsor, but it's proven to be a really special relationship.
That's beautiful, Jamie. So, I'm so happy we met. Thank you, Eve, for telling me about her.
Yes, thank you, Eve.
Once she had that in her head, she didn't let it go.
She's a bulldog. She's a bulldog in all arenas of her life.
And I love her. And I'm sorry that it's been so long having you on here, but when I started my channel and I told what I wanted to do the last of the month, within the first 2 weeks, I was booked up until this month.
That's fantastic, though. That means that you're doing something that other people appreciate.
I was like, can't believe they're trusting me with the
Yeah.
stories. And Eve, at the time, I said, Eve, I don't have anything open until, June or no. I had to tell them because I thought I would die in my sleep. But I said, I don't have anything until in the night. I hate to say, hey, would you come on in 4 months? But you were so cool about that. You're not sure. Well, once I had somebody on, then later on, I'm like, hey, you want to come back on? So don't be surprised if I ask you.
I won't. I'll be watching my messages.
I want to thank you for subscribing and for being here when you can. I know you're here when you can, and it means the world to me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And thank you, Berta. Like, oh my God, I still don't even know what to say besides thank you. I've got to figure out something better to say to you besides thank you.
You know what? That's the one thing that Berta, that's all she needs. Is to know that you're going to love the canvas and give it the care that it needs. And thank you is all she needs.
I will show it to everybody when I finish it.
Yes, you will, because I'm not even when it comes to like done paintings and things that I want to know. I'm a bulldog and I don't shut up. So I will say, hey, Jamie, let me see. Hey, Jamie, are you done yet? So before we go, I got a couple more comments to read to you. Oh, and first of all, why that Nia said she can teach you to knit.
Where are you, Mia? Let's get together.
Nia's in Denmark, but
I mean, I can take a trip. Let me go get my passport. We'll go.
There you go. Nia is a wonderful teacher. Now, I did know that. And then Linda said, you're an amazing, talented woman. I am sure you learn inspiration to people you help. And Kathy did a great job, Jenny. And thank you, Dixie said, don't forget to like and subscribe to our Nation TV. Thank you. And then Eve said, now instead of carrying illegal substances across state lines, I'll be carrying diamond painting uniforms across state lines. There you go. That's a good thing to do. And Nia said she can teach you remote.
We're going to have to hook up, Mia.
So there you go. Just enjoy the team that Tammy drive. Yeah, that's all she wants you to do is enjoy the team. That's all she needs. And if you ever want to talk to her one-on-one, I can hit you up.
Okay, fantastic. Absolutely.
But I want to thank you guys for coming tonight and supporting Jenny. It really means the world to me. Thank you for coming and supporting me. That when you support an idea, then that's why I'm here. That's what I want to do. I finally found my calling, and it's to do this.
That's fantastic. You're amazing, Tammy.
Thank you, Jenny. W. Not that you.
Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, have a good night. And I'm going to, I don't know what Bert is doing. I'm going to tell everybody just to love yourself, to love others, and to always remember that as long as you have someone, anybody in your life that you can get to anything, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm living first. And if you need someone and you don't have anybody, you have me. Always. Never forget that. So thank you once again. I hope you have an incredible night. I'm back to my old self, so hopefully I'm not gonna have to cancel anymore. If that's at the end of the month, then I'm going on the retreat, and yeah, nothing keeping me from that retreat. But I'll be back after that, and my plan is not to have the death after the retreat, so that I can tell you all about my experience for the third time. So I will let you guys go. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, a great weekend, and I will see you in my next live, my next video. Bye, guys.